Good evening. My name is William Lowe. I'm a graduate student at California State University of San Bernardino. Today I'm here to talk to you about organizational behavior. I'll be doing a literature review of a social integration model of the effects of emotion regulation on work strain by Dr. Cote. I want to put the cart before the horse for a moment and have a discussion about dogs. You ever notice dogs can read minds? Really, they can. No, they can't. I'm just playing. They can't. But it seems like they can. It's because dogs are experts at picking up on body language. Really. You think about taking your dog for a walk. Sometimes your dog gets up and he's ready to go. You make these subtle movements that your dog picks up on. For instance, are you familiar with the artwork by Cassius Coolidge? You'll know once I say it. It's the big picture, all the dogs playing poker. Now, without going into the history of this painting, I'm not really sure what Cassius Coolidge, what a relationship was with dogs, or what he thought of dogs. But I do know that if dogs could play poker, they would be amazing. Dogs would be experts at poker because they can easily see your tells. They can pick up on the subtleties. Little smile, twitching of the eye, movement of your hands when you're fidgety. Where do I put my hands? That type of things. Dogs can pick up on all those things. They know that when you get up and you stretch your back a little bit, maybe that's something you do before you take them for a walk. And they're going to pick up on that. They think, we're going for a walk. They get excited. But you just stretch because you're going to get up and get a cup of coffee. I bring up coffee because that's what I go through with my dogs every day. Okay, let's go ahead and take a step back and let's get that cart back behind the horse where it belongs. What we're going to talk about today is a social interaction model by Dr. Cote. And what this interaction model does is it gives a fresh perspective in organizational behavior about how the individual's feelings can affect other individuals' feelings. The social interaction model is built on 4 concepts: surface acting, deep acting, emotion amplification, and emotion suppression. Poker face. Dogs. We're going to go into that a little bit further with some explanation, some examples, and a bit of a conclusion analysis at the end. Okay, before I elaborate further on what surface acting and deep acting are, I'm going to tell a little story. Just a little one though, I promise. Now I'm going to tell a story about my grandmother, my sweet grandmother. All grandmothers are sweet, am I correct? Well, in this story I'm going to use a bit of a stereotype because my grandmother is a very strong woman, very opinionative, grew up in Brooklyn, a New Yorker, moved to Long Island, Italian woman, so she's very independent and very strong. And I remember when I was a kid, I used to sit at her feet. I'd be watching Perry Mason, right? And she worked for United Cerebral Palsy. And what she would do is she would call around to homes and try to get like clothing and refrigerators and stuff like that. And the way she would say it is, "Oh, hello, I'm with United Cerebral Palsy. I'm looking for refrigerators, clothing, or reusable items." She'd probably kill me if I did that. I'm not making fun of her. I'm just showing you what she does. And so she was very authentic with it, and you can tell that she enjoyed her job. But sometimes what you would get is she would use her, "Thank you very much, ma'am," and hang up the phone and, that freaking bastard, and sorry, we're all adults here, but that was what she would do. And what she taught me is that you can catch more flies with honey than you can with vinegar. And by that, what I mean is if she calls these people and she's happy and she's excited about what she's doing, she's more apt to get a better response, to get a happy response, to get a donation for the United Cerebral Palsy. Well, when she doesn't get that result and she gets a negative response and she hangs up the phone and she stops her emotion regulation where she's amplifying her emotion, when she hangs up that phone and she shows her true emotion, it's anger. She's mad at that person because sometimes they just kept her on the phone a little long, just to talk, or they give her a hard time about her job. And It would crack me up to see her, how fast she can switch between those emotions. Surface acting. That's a response-focused emotion regulation, often looked at as inauthentic. You know when that car dealership comes up to you, "Hi, I'm Will." Big cheesy smile. One thing that you can tell about surface acting, whether it's authentic or inauthentic, is the muscles. Now let's compare that to deep acting. Deep acting is antecedent focused. What does that mean? That means that deep acting is more authentic. When you're deep acting, you feel the emotion, you don't just show the emotion. It's not just the zygomatic muscles in your mouth, but it's the oculi muscles, the muscles around your eyes. You show it in the eyes. You know how people say the truth is in the eyes? Well, it turns out that the truth is in the eye muscles. Now with surface acting, you're just changing your public display of the emotion, but internally, you're still feeling the emotion that you're hiding. Could be anger, could be happy, and you're just amplifying anger, you're showing anger. And what that does is that's causing an internal strain. That causes emotional dissonance. And what emotional dissonance is when you don't feel the emotion that you're showing. And that causes a strain on you, and that can cause a strain on the receiver as well. Now, deep acting affects the internal emotion plus the public display of emotion, which is much more authentic, much more believable. So what is emotion amplification and emotion suppression? A good example of emotion amplification is used by salesmen all over the place, but for my example, I'm going to use a car dealer. So you go to a car dealership and you meet a salesperson. He comes out, "How you doing? I'm Chad. Nice to meet you." You know, big cheesy smile on his face. He is happy to see you because, well, he wants a paycheck. But he's really not that happy to see you. Not that big cheesy shark grin that he's got on his face. And that's emotion amplification. What he's trying to do is he's trying to show how happy he is, to make you happy. Because if you're happy, you might buy his car. Now, since we're using a car dealership and a salesperson as a good example for emotion amplification, why don't we just go ahead and use it for the same thing for emotion suppression? But instead of the car dealer, you're the person buying the car, or the person with the person buying the car, which is typically how it goes. Car dealers, the dealerships, the salesperson, they know that when you get to the dealership, as the buyer, you just want your car. You want to buy that car. Well, that's why you bring another person with you. You bring that second person that helps you negotiate. And that person is going to kind of calm you down. When you're happy that you're getting a good deal, they got to show that poker face. They have to suppress that emotion. And they got to help you suppress that emotion. Because you want the car dealer, you want the salesperson to think that you're going to walk out the door. A lot of times you're going to walk out the door if you negotiate correctly. Because they're going to call you back. You suppressed your emotions. You suppressed your excitement at such a good deal so you can get a better deal. You use that as a negotiating tool. Now, to begin my conclusion, we took a look at a fresh perspective of social interaction, surface acting versus deep acting, and the authenticity and the inauthenticity of both of those, how they kind of work together. Surface acting is more inauthentic and it can be seen by other people and it causes strain. Deep acting is much more authentic. You feel the happiness, you feel the anger. It actually causes less emotional strain on the sender and on the receiver. We looked at emotion amplification, emotion suppression, and saw examples of both of those. And you could kind of see how they run congruent with deep acting and surface acting, how they're another emotion regulation. Now, why is the social interaction model pertinent to this class? It's pertinent to this class because organizational theory and behavior is about expressions, about tone, about how you speak to people, how we communicate with ourselves and other people. Can we communicate the message that we want correctly? All right, so that's going to wrap up our presentation for today. I truly like to thank you for your time and open up to any questions.